In this video, I will show you how to take the general form equation of a circle and turn it into standard form, and then we'll answer some key questions about the circle, like what's the center, what's the radius, and is the point 2 comma negative 4 inside, outside, or on the circle. So in the back of your mind, you need to know that the standard form equation of a circle looks like this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And in this form, the center of the circle is h comma k, and the radius is r. So notice how this form of the equation doesn't have any parentheses in it. So we're going to have to create those parentheses using a process called completing the square. All right, my first hint is that this 49 is going to be in the way. So along the way, I'm going to move that to the other side by subtracting 49 from both sides. So that's why you're going to see a negative 49 show up. The other thing I need to do is I need to rearrange the terms so that the terms with x's in them are side by side, so these need to go together, and the terms that have y's in them should be written side by side. So that's what you're about to see me do right now. So that's why I'm going to suddenly have x squared minus 14x. Now when you're completing the square, you need to leave a blank right here in order to complete the square. So then after the blank, I'm going to pick up with my y squared and minus 14y, and again I'm going to put another blank spot, and as I said, that will equal negative 49. So in order to complete the square, here comes the parentheses that I promised you. So from the x terms, the terms that have x in them, I'm going to get my first set of parentheses squared. And what goes in the parentheses will be x and then half of this. So I have negative 14, so that's why I'm going to have negative 7 right here. Okay, let me skip over to the y part, okay, which will give me another set of parentheses squared. And this will be y, and then again, half of this. So again, that is going to be minus 7. Well, that's a little bit boring and disappointing. I really don't like the fact that these happen to be the same number. Okay, I'm not happy with this problem. Anyway, I'm just going to have to deal with it. So let's see. Anyway, it's time to complete the square. So what I'm about to write down right now is absolutely mandatory. You need to fill in the blanks, complete the square. And the way you do that is you take the number that you put in the parentheses and you square it. So negative 7 squared is positive 49. So I'm going to put a positive 49 right here. And then I also need to put 49 on the other side of the equation. Okay, and then I need to do the same thing with the y's, but of course that's going to be the exact same thing because it's still negative 7. If I square that, I'm going to get positive 49. I'm going to put that on the other side of the equation as well. When you complete the square, you have to put it on both sides. All right, however, you can see that on the right-hand side of the equation, my negative 49 and my red positive 49, they cancel out. And that's just going to leave this green 49. So that's it. This is the standard form equation of the circle. So let me go ahead and put my first box around that. Okay, so now it's time to say the center and the radius. Okay, so the center is going to be the opposite of this, comma, the opposite of that. So the center is going to be 7, comma, 7. Okay, and the radius. Okay, now remember, this position is the radius squared. 49 is 7 squared. So that means the radius must be 7. Okay, you can think of it as taking the square root of 49 if it makes you feel better. But anyway, we now have found the center and the radius. So that's something we were supposed to do. Okay, now we need to figure out, is the point 2 comma negative 4 inside, outside, or on the circle? Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is take my equation of the circle and plug in this point. So if I substitute 2 for x and negative 4 for y, then I'm going to get 2 minus 7 squared, okay, plus negative 4 minus 7 squared. All right, and we need to see how does that compare with 49. Okay, if this is equal to 49, that means the point is on the circle. If this turns out to be less than 49, that means it's sitting on a smaller circle inside. And if this number turns out to be larger than 49, that means it is sitting on a larger circle, which would be outside the original circle. Okay, so we just need to calculate this out. So we could sit here and do this by hand. 2 minus 7 is going to be negative 5. So we have that. And then negative 4 minus 7 is negative 11. So we have that. All right, and we're comparing to 49. Okay, and so this negative 5 squared is positive 25. Okay, negative 11 squared is positive 121. All right, and I'm asking myself, how does that compare with 49? Okay, wow, well, this is not even close, right? This is huge. So this is going to be 146. So unless I made some kind of mistake, this is like not even close. So I kind of wish it had been closer. But anyway, clearly 146 is larger than 49. Okay, so that means that the point 2 comma negative 4 is outside the circle. Okay, so 2 comma negative 4 is outside. If you didn't feel like doing all this by hand, just quickly notice that I could type all this in. I could go 2 minus 7 squared plus negative 4 minus 7 squared. Okay, and you could just go straight to 146. Okay, number 6 is pretty much the same thing, so I encourage you to pause the video and try to do this problem by yourself. So the first step is to subtract 32 from both sides, get that out of the way. So I'm going to have a negative 32 on my next step. Then you're going to want to put the terms that have x's in them side by side, and you're going to want to put the terms that have y in them side by side. So when I recopy the equation, I'm going to write x squared minus 14x. I'm going to leave a space to complete the square, plus y squared minus 16y, leave a space to complete the square, is equal to negative 32. Okay, now it's time to create the parentheses where we have a binomial squared. okay, and a binomial squared. To get the first binomial, of course I'm going to have x, because I see the x right here, but then I take half of this middle number, so that'll be minus 7. Okay, and then same thing over here, I'm going to have y for sure, and then I'll have half of this, so that'll be negative 8. Alright, now I have to come up here and complete the square, meaning I need to fill in the blanks here. I get that by taking the number in the parentheses and squaring it. So imagine if this x wasn't here, I would have negative 7 squared. And that would be positive 49, which I must put here and here. Okay, you must show this step. Don't skip this. Okay, so similarly, to complete the square with the y terms, I'm going to square this negative 8. And that's going to give me positive 64. All right, which I need to add on the right-hand side as well as the left-hand side. Okay, so now I just need to add up these three numbers, and that'll tell me what to put right there. So I've got negative 32 plus 49. Okay, negative 32 plus 39 plus 64. Not 39, 49. Okay, that turns out to be 81. So that means I have 81 right now. And in fact, that is the standard form equation of the circle, so that part is now done. Okay, next we're supposed to state the center and the radius. So the center is going to be the opposite of this, comma, the opposite of that. So that's why the center is going to be positive 7, comma, positive 8. And now the radius. Okay, this value is the radius squared. So the radius must be 9. Okay, so now we have the center and the radius. Okay, you could look at this as taking the square root of 81 if it helps you. All right, so finally, we're supposed to figure out is the point 2 comma negative 4 inside, outside, or on the circle. 2 comma negative 4. So all we need to do is take this point and plug it in and see what happens. So I'll put in 2 for x and negative 4 for y. If I do that, then I will have 2 minus 7 squared, okay, plus negative 4 minus 8 squared. And I need to check and see how does that compare with 81. All right, if this value turns out to be equal to 81, that means that the point is on the circle. If it turns out to be less than 81, that means it's sitting on a smaller circle, so the point would be inside the circle. And if this value is larger than 81, that means it is sitting on a larger circle, so it will be outside the circle. So now I could cheat at this point and use my calculator if I was feeling lazy, okay? And then I would just do 2 minus 7 squared plus negative 4 minus 8 squared. Okay, if I was feeling lazy, maybe I would just do that. And I would get 169. So now I've got 169, and I'm asking myself, how does that compare to 81? Well, clearly, that is larger than 81. So that means that the point 2 comma negative 4 is outside the circle. All right, and that's the last thing we were supposed to find for problem number 6. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.